The light you keep choosing. There is something profoundly human about caring. Whenever someone you love feels unsafe, your heart rises before your thoughts do. Your chest lifts, your mind sharpens, your spirit leans forward as if trying to catch them before they fall. This is not weakness, this is proof that you are still alive where it matters most. Because only a living heart can feel the tremble of another soul. People forget that. They forget that concern is not fear. It is love stretching itself across a distance, an invisible thread that hums whenever something feels off. It is the echo of connection reminding you that you were never meant to be numb. Not numb to others, not numb to yourself. So let me ask you something. When did we learn to apologize for this aliveness? When did we start treating our capacity to feel as something that needs to be managed, controlled, explained away? You know, there's an old story. A monk carried a scorpion across a river. Every time he lifted it, it stung him. A traveler watching said, "Why do you keep helping something that keeps hurting you?" The monk replied, "It is the scorpion's nature to sting. It is my nature to save." But here's what the story never tells you. The monk didn't lose himself in the saving. He didn't abandon himself. He didn't become the scorpion's victim. He remained fully himself while honoring his nature. And this, right here, is where the path turns for so many of us. Because when you care deeply, you must also pause long enough to remember who you are. Caring creates a strange kind of fog. Not the kind that blinds you, the kind that hides your reflection. You look at life and see their worry, their safety, their direction, their needs, but your own face becomes harder to recognize. Think about it. When was the last time you stood in front of a mirror and really saw yourself? Not checking your appearance, not critiquing what needs to be fixed, but actually meeting your own eyes and recognizing the soul looking back. You begin saying things like, "I'll return to myself when this settles. I'll get back to my dreams when things calm down. I'll continue my becoming once they are okay." But life has a pattern older than memory. There's always something happening, always another storm, always another situation asking for your heart. And if you wait for perfect conditions, you may spend your entire life waiting. Let me tell you something about waiting. I've been thinking about this. Waiting is perhaps the most human thing we do. Waiting for buses, for phone calls, for test results, for love, for clarity, for courage. But somewhere along the way, many of us became professional waiters. Not the kind that serve food, the kind that serve time to an uncertain future. We wait for permission to be ourselves. We wait for the right moment to speak our truth. We wait for conditions to align before we step into our power. We wait for everyone else to be okay before we tend to our own garden. So let me offer you something gentle and true. Do not use your care for others as an escape from becoming yourself. Not because you shouldn't care. You should. Of course you should. Care is sacred. Care is proof that the world has not hardened you beyond recognition. Care reveals your softness. Care reveals your humanity. But the self is not meant to be forgotten in the process. You matter. Your dreams matter. Your becoming matters. Your life has chapters left unwritten, and you are the only one who can write them. Think about how long you've been waiting. Really think about it. Waiting for a feeling, waiting for a sign, waiting for certainty, waiting for permission, waiting for the world to shift its weight so you can finally step into the version of you that's been whispering inside for years. How long has that whisper been calling you? How many mornings did you feel it? How many quiet moments did its fingertips brush your spirit? Some people wait so long that waiting becomes their identity. They become professional waiters, waiting on themselves, on clarity, on alignment, on courage, on the perfect moment. But the perfect moment rarely arrives because perfection is the myth that stops movement. Now, pause. Breathe with me. In, slow, steady. Out, softer than you think. And look at your life honestly. You are in a new place. Can you feel it? A new internal landscape. a new season, a new openness, a new doorway. Life is making room for you in ways you haven't recognized yet. There are opportunities waiting for the version of you that refuses to shrink. Paths that do not even know they are about to meet you. Rooms shaping themselves around your arrival. Conversations waiting for your voice. Moments waiting for your courage. Everything is open. Now, not later, not someday. Now. You know what fascinates me? We live in a universe that is constantly expanding. Stars are being born as we speak. Galaxies are stretching into new territories of space. The very cosmos is in a state of becoming. And yet, we ask ourselves to stay small, to wait, to shrink so others feel comfortable. But what if? Really hear me. What if your expansion is not selfish? What if your becoming is part of the same cosmic impulse that creates stars? This is the breakthrough, not the situation, not the worry, not the fear. The breakthrough is the awareness rising in you right now. The one saying, I cannot keep postponing myself. I cannot keep delaying my own life. I cannot keep acting like my story is something I'll return to after everyone else is okay. Your life is happening, breath by breath, choice by choice, moment by moment. You are not here to wait. You are here to write. But what does it mean to write yourself? I don't mean the polished version for social media. I mean the deep writing, the kind that happens in the spaces between thoughts, the kind that emerges when you stop performing and start being. Write a version of yourself that feels alive. Write a version that feels like truth. Write a version only someone who survived darkness and chose to shine anyway could ever write, because that is who you are. Someone who walked through fire, someone who endured storms, someone who lived through nights that felt endless, someone who carried more than you ever speak about, someone who was tested in ways nobody can see, and yet here you are. Still breathing, still choosing, still rising, still loving, still believing in something greater than the pain. That is not fragility, that is strength. Quiet strength, root strength, depth strength. Let me tell you something about tunnels. Everyone talks about the light at the end, but nobody talks about the person who carries the light through the middle. Nobody talks about the years you became your own torch. Nobody talks about the nights you held yourself together when everything else was falling apart. Nobody talks about the decisions you made at 3 a.m. That saved the version of you standing here now. You have been your own light many times. Not because life was gentle, not because people always chose you, not because circumstances were kind, but because somewhere inside, in the places you never brag about, you kept choosing the light. Sometimes with confidence, sometimes with confusion, sometimes trembling, sometimes through tears, but you chose it, and the light chose you back. Now, let me touch the uncomfortable part. When you care for someone to the point that you begin to shrink, that is not love, that is fear dressed as devotion. Love is not self-erasure. Love is not self-abandonment. Love is not disappearing into someone else's storm. Love is awareness. Love is truth. Love is presence that does not require you to vanish. You can care for someone without sacrificing your becoming. You can check on them without checking out of yourself. You can pray for someone without postponing your purpose. You can hold space without emptying your own. Your becoming does not threaten anyone. Your growth harms no one. Your expansion takes nothing from others. Your shine does not dim another soul. It reminds them of possibility. Now, let's talk about this moment. This moment has more weight than you think, not because of the situation you're worried about, but because of what it revealed. It showed you how quickly you leave yourself, how fast your heart leaps into rescue mode, how deeply you care, but it also showed you the cost of disappearing, the cost of waiting, the cost of neglecting your own life. Let this moment be a reset, a doorway, a turning point. Let this be the moment you say, I will not abandon myself again. Stand in your truth. Stand in your presence. Stand in your becoming. Stand in the awareness that you are allowed to matter. Not after, not later, now. Because here's what happens when you choose yourself. Life rearranges, the world responds, your spirit strengthens, your intuition sharpens, your voice softens in the right places and strengthens in the others. You start seeing paths where there used to be walls, feeling possibility where there used to be doubt, noticing opportunities that were always there, but invisible to a dimmed version of you. Choosing yourself isn't selfish. It's sacred. A self-abandoned cannot save anyone. A self-honored becomes a lighthouse, and that is what you are becoming. Not a rescuer, not a martyr, not a shadow. A lighthouse. A light that stands tall enough for others to see their own way home. Breathe with me now. In, slow, steady. Out, quiet, easy. Feel your body speaking. Feel your soul whispering. Feel the truth rising. Feel the old story falling away. Feel the new chapter turning toward you. You are not waiting for your breakthrough. You are standing in it right now, in this awareness, in this clarity, and in this choice. And what is the choice? To return to yourself fully, honestly, without apology, without delay, without disappearing into the needs or safety of others. You are here to live, truly live, to become what only you can become, to write the story only you can write, to shine in ways only you can shine, to love in ways only you can love, to breathe in a way that feels like truth, to step into the life that has been waiting for you. This is your beginning, not because life became easy, but because you became available to yourself. And when a person becomes available to themselves, the world becomes available to them. So let me leave you with this. You have walked through hell, but you are still the light. Not because the story was gentle, but because you chose to glow anyway. And the question now is simple, but before this video closes, there's something I want you to carry with you. You don't need a miracle to change your life. You don't need a sign from the universe. You don't need everything to line up perfectly. You just need one moment where you decide to show up for yourself the same way you've shown up for everyone else. A moment where you whisper, I matter too. Because everything you are seeking, peace, clarity, confidence, direction, they don't arrive all at once. They reveal themselves in the small choices you make when nobody is watching. So start small. Drink a glass of water before you pick up your phone. Step outside for 1 minute and feel the air touch you. Sit with your breath and let it soften your chest. Write a single sentence about who you want to become. Say no one time where you used to say yes out of fear. Tiny actions, simple shifts, quiet revolutions. This is how people rebuild themselves. Not in grand gestures, but in honest ones. And if you can take one small step today, just one dash, you'll discover something life-changing. Momentum doesn't come from motivation. It comes from movement. Your next chapter doesn't start someday. It starts the moment you choose the smallest act. That brings you back to yourself. So as you leave this video, take one step, any step, a step that honors your becoming, a step that belongs to you. And remember, you are appreciated, you are becoming, and you are worth the journey it takes to return to yourself. Thanks for watching. The messenger, the Pharaoh Bee.